I'm Jason.
I'm Adam.
And I'm usually Dave from the Digital Soup Podcast.
A proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts
at GonnaGeek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Yeah, that's it now. We shortened the intro this week, guys. Welcome to episode 271 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. I told you I shortened the crap out of the intro.
You didn't say it was only one sentence now.
I told you it was 18
it's too
seconds.
Fast. It's
I
too
said
fast.
18 seconds.
But now I don't know who you people are or who I am.
Well, that's what I said we were going to redo how the show is done. And I'd say, welcome everyone to episode 271 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, recorded live on Sunday, July 30th, 2017. My name is Chris, and with me today, the rest of the show, we've got the one, the only Willie D Nelson.
I shaved my head in the shower in the nude.
To palate cleanse us there, let's go and say we've got Anthony Bachman with us. Please tell us you don't shave your head in the nude.
No. I don't ever want to think about that again.
I don't either. And last but not least, Naki's with us today.
I am. How do you not cut the fuck out of your head not being able to see it? Or like don't you
I ever see the back of my head?
You put a mirror behind you. When you're facing a mirror, you
So
put
I
a
have
mirror behind you?
Okay. Now you're hitting the other thing of the mirror in front of me now. Well, you gotta say everything at once.
But how do you not miss the back of your head or not cut the fuck out of your head?
Well, these things I built myself, these fingers, I feel like, I still feel a strip of hair there.
You built them yourself?
There's a throwback to pre-show.
It's
unlike
okay when Chris
the
says
crackhead
it, but
that I
with
saw
me.
at the post office on Saturday morning when I was delivering packages, who apparently can't feel the back of his head when he's shaving it because his head was shaved, but he had giant clumps of hair on the back of his head. Like he just totally didn't even think to reach back there.
That's the new fashion
Well,
style.
if you want to know, I have this little technique I do where I pretty much grab like the top of the razor, and then I just use my finger to feel, and I just shave where that is. I don't grab the handle, so it works. I've had a couple years practice, is what I'm trying to say.
Huh. I mean, I've never shaved my own head. I've always had somebody else shave my head for me. So
With a razor?
Yeah, you get used to it, Naki. I've been doing it for 10 years.
I mean, I use an 8 guard, so it's not like.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a little bit different. I mean, than actually, because you can, if you miss a spot with a guard, it's like, whatever. You can get away with it. But shaving your head.
Because that's what I use. I use the 1/8 or inch guard or whatever when I do my hair, and it's easy.
I shave my head about
hair.
once every 2 weeks or something.
That's about what it is for me.
I get lazy.
I just can't if I shave because I've got lines in my hair to for the mohawk, so I don't want to like accidentally like shave off those lines. It's yeah. Oh, Sailor Poland says give Willie credit. At least he's not rocking a man bun.
Which the Life Otaku referred to as the mullet of the new millennium.
Yeah, but Chris says yet, and I mean, that's going to take a couple years for me to even get to a man bun length.
He might just make a bun out of his beard, is what I was thinking.
I was going to say, he could just wrap up his chin scruff and put that into a bun.
Have you guys seen the guys who are using the man bun to cover their bald spots?
Jesus.
What? Is that the new wave of comb over?
Right. So they grow out their hair that is like not in the center because that's where the bald spot is, and then they use all that hair that's on the side to pull it up into a man bun. It's a pretty glorious looking man bun, I'm not gonna lie.
They grow the Hulk Hogan, so it's all on the sides, and they tie it up on top.
Yep, and it covers
it
up
also in the front too, I guess.
That's disgusting.
It covers up the bald spot. It was actually kind of ingenious if you think about it.
I mean, aging hipsters have to do something, right?
So if you do your hair like Hulk Hogan, does that make you as racist as Hulk Hogan?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, the man bun is
probably.
The man bun is reminiscent of older Asian culture, so maybe.
There you go. If you're watching the chat room, Suncast just dropped a picture of what that man bun looks like.
Oh,
and
no.
if you're watching the video live right now,
I'm going to click on it.
The video chat automatically loads that image for you. So just look in the sidebar.
Yep. That is what it is.
That's disgusting. That's you know what that is? That's false advertising. That's a Wonder Bra. Because that chick gets him home and he undoes his hair and she took a fucking bald guy out. That's false advertising.
That's the thing, though. Is that like
Which one's bald guy?
that's the thing, right? It's like just be proud of who you are, guys. Like it's totally fine. And I mean this for both men and women. Like, ladies, you don't have to have the big boobles. It's okay. Not
Yeah,
everybody has them.
I mean, it's all right to have a small dick.
So, small dicks are fine. It's just on how you
Exactly.
use it. You just got to be able to use it, right?
You gotta get the angle right.
Well, that's the lie that they tell guys with small dicks, apparently.
And if you watch Game of Thrones, then you know you don't even technically need one. You could just have a good time otherwise.
Yeah, that is a question. Does he have a dick still or not?
He doesn't need one because
But does he have one? Is the question. I don't care if he can
you
go
know,
do other
and
things.
we were actually wondering that too, because if you look online, like eunuch has multiple different like definitions where it could be just no balls, but it could be no dick and no balls, but it could be no dick but still has the balls. So it's like I don't know which one he is.
All right, you know what? Next
Never
week,
specified.
this week I'm going to send an email to my buddy George Railroad Martin, and we're going to have him on air next week to answer this question for us.
But so I was trying not to be spoilerific with that, but I guess it kind of. But in any case, boobs, they can be of all shapes and sizes. And guess what? 90% of boobs are like
Asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Anyway, so if one boobie is bigger than the other, that's okay. It's the same thing with balls, right? If one ball is bigger than the other, it's okay. It's fine. Like
They're not usually bigger than the other. One just hangs lower.
yeah, so they can be asymmetrical. It's fine. Just
I've
be
never
proud.
paid enough attention to my balls. Give me 1 second.
Oh God.
You should listen to Deadpool. Go in the shower when you're done shaving your head. Give the ball sack a little roll around.
You gotta check for cancer anyways. Like the
Yep.
girls gotta do it with their boobies.
I love that the Blu-ray of Deadpool actually came with the self-testicle examination instructions. It came with a card for that. It's
Yep.
fucking awesome.
Poland is like, I have video again. So we were talking about balls, if not
Yeah.
mistaken.
I'm looking at mine right now. You want me to describe them?
Oh God.
No, please don't.
I mean, they're not on
God.
camera.
But they're
We
balls.
don't want you to describe them
Wait.
either.
Wait. Did I always have that mole there?
Stop.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, and it restarted, so it's playing.
Oh, I gotta remute.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You might want to pause your player.
There we go. Pause.
Sorry about that, guys. I have no idea what happened, but I started dropping frames left and right until I was dropping 99% of my frames, which meant you were getting
Because you
nothing.
talk shit about Comcast.
Effing Comcast, man.
They are listening to you, Chris.
Dicks out for Harambe.
Yes, keep it going. It's been, what, 2 years now or a year or something? I don't know.
I think it's been almost 2 years now. God damn it! Do I have to pee?
Already?
Why are you asking us?
Wasn't she just talking about this coffee making her pee in her small
Yep.
bladder?
Yeah.
Did you not pre-plan this?
I
and,
really
and
needed
now we're
some
going to talk about it
caffeine.
for another. We're going to talk about it for another hour and a half until she's doing the pee-pee dance while she's sitting there.
Just think of TLC.
Oh, dear.
I don't
I'm
want
gonna
no
have some more
scrubs.
coffee.
I'm gonna keep drinking my coffee.
See, here's the thing, though, Naki. If you got up to pee right now, we would never even know because we wouldn't be able to see. We'd just think, oh, Naki's being highly reflective on what we're
Chris,
saying right now.
Turn her camera on.
I don't. She doesn't have a camera. I can't turn it on.
Well,
Haha,
damn it, that's
suckers.
cheating.
The only way you could is like on my phone, I guess. But like my phone's behind me, so you just be
Bachman.
looking at the ceiling.
Bachman, you're asking the wrong person. You need to ask the NSA.
No, they're already watching. But they're
I
just
know.
not going to share.
But if they
If
can
Chris,
turn it on.
if Chris turns her camera on, we'll be able to see it. NSA already has her camera on, but we can't see that.
Sailor Poland has requested that I move the mic into the bathroom and do the show from the throne.
We're not that kind of show.
That's definitely not my fetish. Can we not do that?
That's not the kind of show we are. I mean, we've
No.
been accused of things that are strange, but not quite that one.
I've done a lot of strange things.
Speaking of being accused of things, I saw on Twitter this week a certain Stargate pioneer accused us of stealing our news from, I think, aliens and all this other stuff, but also Digital Soup. What was that about?
What
I don't
news?
know. We record before anyone else does on those ones, so I don't care.
Ooh.
So, but yeah,
Wait,
as
he's accusing us of stealing our news from the podcast on the network that we don't fucking listen to. I don't know what they
Speak for
talk
yourself.
about.
I listen to them.
I'm sorry.
I listen
I'm
to
sorry. What was
Digital
it?
Soup.
What was who was on Legends of Shield first? I'm sorry, who stole what from what? Who?
I don't know what you're referencing, Willie.
Nobody does.
Legends of Shield. That was Wing and Beef, not originally, wasn't it?
I think they were just legends, wasn't it?
Well, it was a part of Legends podcast, if I recall correctly, that they spun
No, they had
off.
a separate. No, they had a whole separate things. I listened to them.
Oh.
Jesus Christ! Know your history of your network. Damn.
Yeah, know your history, and while you're thinking about it, let's get ready for the news of the week.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
It's my worst segue ever as we go into the news of the week.
No, you have
Well,
worse before.
Yeah,
thanks.
you've probably done worse.
Probably have. But news of the week, guys, it's that part of the show where we run down the coolest, most interesting, or at least in our minds, nerdy news that has come out in the past week. And I'm not going first, so I'm just going to say who wants to go first. Just take
I'll go first.
Naki's going to go first.
I'm actually going to say thank you to Sailor Poland first off because he sent me this news. And I find it interesting, and I'm Willie. See, talking. I am great at this. I want to get your guys' input on this too, because we had Sailor Poland and I had a discussion about this, and I thought it was really interesting. So I'm going to toss it out to you guys. But DC has officially made Batman into a metahuman.
Go on.
So
Boo!
It's upcoming spoilers for Suicide Squad number 22 for those of you who still read that stuff. Personally, I've not picked up a DC title in years, so I didn't care.
Nightwing is still great.
Okay. But for those of you who still read Suicide Squad, this is a spoiler for number 22. In this article, and I'm just going to quote it here, Batman has been long the not... See, I already fucked it up. Batman has long been the non-superpowered member of the Justice League, though to be fair, it hasn't exactly held him back. While he has yet to manifest any actual powers, according to Amanda Waller of The Dark Knight, is not a normal human. Towards the end of this week's issue, she instructs the remnants of her team, Digger Harkness notwithstanding long story, to retrieve 2 metahumans, which includes Killer Frost and Batman. So it has officially been announced by DC that Batman is a metahuman. Scott Snyder denies it in an article over in Bleeding Cool. Scott Snyder says, I lost my quote. Okay. On Twitter, he says, not to speak for Suicide Squad.
We stole this from Digital Soup.
Yep. This is exactly the quality content that we steal from them. Not to speak for Suicide Squad, but Batman is not meta. He gets his powers for stories like Darkseid War, but he's never been meta in nature. So Scott Snyder denies that he's a metahuman, which of the people to write Batman, he was one of my favorites. So I'm gonna just go with him and say he's not a metahuman. But let me see. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is Batman a metahuman, or is he a dude with a lot of money?
I would say let's come up with a new term. Let's say he's a prime human. How's that?
Well, that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the peak of human conditioning. Like, technically, Steve Rogers is the very best a human can be. The superhero serum was supposed to make him the peak of all physical and mental conditioning for a human. Batman is supposedly at that exact same level through training, through rigorous diet, through learning skills. He's basically the best at anything ever that a human can get to. That's the whole point of Batman, is that he's the one hero, if you had the money and time, you could become. But depending on the writer, there were times where, I think it was specifically in Warren Ellis's run, where they started referring to him as the Bat God, where the way the writing was done, no matter what the situation was, Batman had an item ready for it and like 6 contingency plans. So it got to the point where there was no villain that could do anything that Batman couldn't outthink instantly. And they started referring to the character as the Bat God, because basically he was just, whatever the story was, Batman himself was the Deus Ex Machina. He could solve anything and you're just done.
I think the conversation that Sailor Poland and I were having was like, I always thought of Batman as the guy with a super amount of training who was super intelligent, which he used to be a really like smart detective and stuff like that, which has kind of been pushed to the side. Like, he's no longer really a detective. He's just a guy who punches people.
Well, again, it depends who's writing him.
Right. And that was always like my favorite storyline. So right was when he was a detective, because it was much more interesting than Bat-God, and it's the problem that I continually have with Batman in the writing and in the movies and stuff like that, is that they just turn him into this invisible being when technically he's not. He's a human who could take a whole lot of damage, but he's really smart and he's just a rich guy, really. He still should be a human. So like I had the problem with the metahuman thing because I think it took away from what Batman at his core should be.
Yeah, it does. It takes away from the basis of the character, which is sad.
It'll get retconned in a few years anyway, so who cares?
Well, yeah, it's DC.
Within
They
6
reset
months.
everything, and yeah,
I mean, without the
more than
retcon,
5 years.
even with the retcon, I really don't care. It's fucking Batman. Who cares?
Whoa!
That's something I would say, Willie.
I'm sorry. All you guys are bashing Batman v Superman and all this, and then all of a sudden, Batman's blah, 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 blah. No.
Talking shit about their awful movies is not the same thing as dumping on the entire comic book universe. Two very separate things, Willie.
I mean, that's and this was part of my conversation, is that like the problem that I have with the comic books now is that like Superman's boring and Wonder Woman, they made her really interesting for a while there, but then they teamed her up with Superman and now she's dating Superman, so she's really boring.
She's not anymore. That Superman's dead.
Oh, Superman's dead now?
Well, that Superman's dead. The non-New 52 Superman is now Superman again.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. The non-52... Wait, what are we talking about?
So the original Superman before New 52...
for a while. It was awful.
The original Superman before New 52 is Superman again. He was still alive in New 52. When they rebooted New 52, he was still alive after that and has taken over as Superman, and his kid is now Superboy or something like that. I don't know. I'm not reading much DC right now.
Well, then who's the Superman of the New 52? Or who's
New 52
the original
doesn't
Superman?
exist anymore.
Yeah, it's gone now.
What is go?
So just like Sailor Paul,
So they
in the chat,
retcon?
Exactly. They rebooted their reboot.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
Sailor Poland's
No, they
response
didn't
was, "Aren't
reboot it.
reboots supposed to be less confusing?" Yeah,
Unless you're DC.
They didn't reboot the reboot. They took back the reboot, is what you're telling me.
No, but they kept parts of the reboot.
Not all of it. Yeah, not all of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
Welcome
god.
to hell. Trying to
mean,
read all these comics and remember what's going on.
No,
and
fuck
people
DC.
wonder why I stopped reading comics. Like I literally couldn't afford it to try and figure out what the fuck was going on. But like Marvel has similar issues, like just to throw it on to both teams here, like Marvel has similar issues with their retcons or reboots or whatever you want to fucking call them.
Well, in all fairness, Marvel has only actually rebooted once. DC's done it about 12 times now, so let's be fair.
Wait, when did Marvel reboot?
Secret Wars was a full reboot.
Right.
Okay,
Because
just making
they
sure.
wiped the Ultimate Universe, brought it in to a fully restructured, brand new 616, where, yeah, like you have Peter Parker is an adult and Miles Morales is also Spider-Man. Like that was a full reboot of the entire universe from the get-go.
But if
and
you
the
try to
Fantastic Four's gone.
yeah.
Wait,
it's more-
all of it?
it's-
Reed and his kids are off making universes, so there's no comic about them, and that's when they added the Thing to the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh yeah.
and they added Johnny Storm to the Inhumans book.
Sailor Poland says, counterpoint, brand new day. That reboot didn't fit with the
Brand
original
New Day
timeline.
can go to hell.
So much love you guys have for these people.
All Brand New Day really did was undo one story about Mephisto with Spider-Man. It didn't really undo everything. It got rid of the Straczynski stuff.
One
is pretty
more
much what it
day.
did.
One more day is the one that can go to hell. Brand New Day sort of undid that, but not really, because they still left the Peter and Mary Jane marriage undone because of the deal with the devil, which is absolute bullcrap. And I ranted and raved about this 4 years ago, probably on this exact same show, where I said this ruins the dynamic between Spider-Man and MJ and basically destroys MJ as a character because she's not what we had anymore. Now she's on Iron Man as like Iron Man's assistant, weird, who knows what the hell's going on, before they killed Tony Stark. So
Wait, Tony Stark's dead now?
Yeah,
Well-
that's how Civil War II ended. Captain Marvel killed Tony Stark.
Cool.
he's in a coma.
So for all you Captain Marvel fans, she's a dick.
Well, yeah, Civil War II ruined Captain Marvel. That's the problem.
Yep.
Captain
I mean-
Marvel was an awesome character. Then Civil War II happened. I'm like, why are you making everyone hate Carol? This is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it in general, like this is why I don't read comics anymore, because first off, you have to read like 6 things to read one story, which is really annoying. But then like all of this shit that you just described happened within like Civil War II was what, 6 months?
I think it ended up going like 9 because it kept getting delayed and they added more issues.
Yeah,
Right.
It was 9 books. It took almost a year to finish.
So, I mean, I don't have the patience. There's also that. But so anyway, so back to Batman being a metahuman. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw us off the train completely.
That's how we know they're listening to our show when we go off the rails.
Right?
That's right. And nobody's going to complain about us talking comics. If they do, they can come talk to me.
With Batman now officially being a metahuman, what do you think that's going to change? Is it going to change anything?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It'll be, Batman's got powers now. Let's make a gag about it once or twice in something, and then we'll never really talk about it.
Well, and since the main person writing him is still Snyder, he'll be normal Batman in the dark metal stuff, so no one will care about the other stories.
But what would his powers even be other than super intelligence?
That's probably what it is super intelligence or something like that.
They're going to say he has a brain like Deathstroke.
Or here's how you also spin it is, this is the Suicide Squad trying to theorize that he's a meta because he's so smart he's able to do stuff. And the real story is Bruce Wayne's just that damn smart. He's just an exception to the norm. He's like Reed Richards if Reed never got his powers. He's just super damn smart.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it was just a really interesting conversation that was had, and I really I thought it would be fun to bring that to the table. So that's my news of the week. If anybody else has chimes. Talking is just not a thing today. Sorry.
But you know what is a thing today, Naki?
What is a thing today?
Tonight, in 12 hours on Adult Swim, the return of Rick and Morty for season 3.
Oh, beloved Dub!
Oh, did you guys see the return of the Szechuan sauce?
That's what my news is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
God damn it, Anthony.
Well, then back to you, Chris. Why don't you do your news?
Don't steal my lines, goddamn it.
The notes were so long, I just scrolled past yours to put mine in, so I didn't see
the
what
headline
news was.
is, we need that Szechuan sauce and a link from IO9.
I didn't read it. See? How can I steal Digital Soup's news? I don't even read our news.
Yeah, guys, so if you missed it, at San Diego Comic-Con, Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland had joked that he'd been in contact with McDonald's about Szechuan sauce. After the episode aired, remember, thousands of fans petitioned McDonald's to bring it back, and at one point, a single bottle of the stuff sold for $14,000 on eBay. That's how insane it is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so last night, Roiland took to Twitter to reveal that McDonald's has lived up to their promise. They sent him a single 64-ounce jug of Szechuan sauce from an alternate dimension where it's always 1998. McDonald's chef Mike included a note that says, "We wish we could have brought more sauce through, but we couldn't risk keeping a portal like that open. Think about it. If you knew in 1998 that McDonald's would have all-day breakfast in 2017, would you stay in 1998? Of course not. If we left the portal open, we'd have puka shells, bucket hats, and boy bands as far as the eye could see. It's too risky, even for a sauce as delicious as this." So while Roiland might have gotten the first bottle, Chef Mike did add, a few lucky fans will get to experience that glory. So now everyone's going, we might be getting the Szechuan sauce back at McDonald's for a short time.
But I
They need to finally make adult children's meals with Rick and Morty stuff in them.
Well, they do have
With
the big,
liquor?
the Mighty Kids meals, because that's what my nephew eats, and that's like a double cheeseburger or a 6-piece chicken McNugget.
But I think an adult kid's meal would have to come with beer.
That's what I just said with liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your only option is nuggets and Szechuan sauce. It's the only option.
I mean, Taco Bell already has a liquor bar up here in Chicago.
I'm so
Nice.
jealous of that. I heard Cody talking about that in the episode of Game Life Balance US before he told the story of proposing to his fiance. They went to that Taco Bell.
I mean, if you're gonna eat Taco Bell, you might as well be trashed.
I mean, all you gotta do is wait a couple of years for Taco Bell to win the restaurant wars, right?
When we did see that in Judge Dredd, the Stallone one.
No.
Was it
Demolition Man.
My
Demolition
bad.
Man.
My bad.
You're confusing your dystopian Stallone futures.
Sorry.
Or if you're in Europe, it's Pizza Hut. Whichever.
My bad. I screwed up. So, hey, guys, We
You know
might
what
get
the 3 shells are for then?
what?
Nobody knows what the 3 shells are for. Anyways.
No.
Oh,
Nobody
I can
knows.
explain it. I've read it. No, the director has come out and said it. And trust me, your imagination is so much better than what it really is. It's pretty much just scraping your butthole.
Oh God.
Oh,
I'm not lying. Use
That-
the first
that
two to
doesn't sound
pinch
fun at
and
all.
pull, and the third one just to scrape. That's literally what he has come out and said. That's all the mystery of the 3 seashells is.
Low Life
It is
Ah.
much better in your head.
Low Life Futaku said he's seen a diagram. It is horrible. Please
I've
never,
seen it too.
never share
Well,
that with us.
that made that worse.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have any more Szechuan chicken stories to try and make things better.
But I mean, on the plus side, you guys who still eat McDonald's will get, some Szechuan chicken, maybe.
But let's go back here for a second. What would be better? I mean, that paper that you use for the cussing thing, we kept cussing at the thing, get the paper, because that's like receipt paper. Will receipt paper really be that good to wipe your ass with?
Any paper
Probably-
works if you get enough of it.
Well,
Probably better than a
It's all
seashell.
Yeah.
slick and everything.
So,
It's just
Willie,
going to smear.
would you rather wipe your ass with receipt paper or pinch your butthole with shells?
It's the future. Can we just have bidets?
No,
That's true.
these are your 2 options.
Yep, that wastes water.
I guess. Well, I mean, then what do you how do you dispose of the 3 seashells afterward? They never explain that.
You wash
part.
them off.
No, they're buttons.
What?
You just wash it.
The 3 seashells are buttons. The seashells don't actually pinch and scrape your ass.
No, no. That's literally the diagram. That's literally what it shows you. Looked it
Gross.
up.
Sailor Poland says rural communities use corn cobs. Learn to adapt.
Oh, that's what they used to do.
Oh,
Yep.
It's like taking sandpaper to your butt.
that's
See, the good thing about that is you actually get the inside of your colon when you shove it up there and pull it out.
That's not how you do it.
That's not how
Oh.
you do it
That's
at all.
not how you wipe, Willie.
It's kind of like starting a lawnmower.
Willie, I'm sorry, but how did you learn how to wipe your ass where you put things inside you?
Apparently from an abusive drunk uncle.
Jesus guy's
Christ.
creepy. You know what the good thing about me being an only child is? I can't be that creepy uncle to anybody.
Thank God.
Until you marry someone and they have
Oh,
sisters
no.
or brothers that have kids.
Been there, done that, never doing it again.
No.
Oh.
We've learned too much about Willie's ass today. Can we change news?
Oh, and my balls.
No, God,
Seriously, where'd that mole come from? This whole region down here, you guys know a lot about.
I
Too
don't
much.
need- I don't need
Way
much.
too much. Why do we need to know about that whole region?
We don't need to know
We
anything.
don't.
I'm just pulling the leg over.
Oh
my-
God.
God
Jim
damn
Oh
it.
God.
Anthony, what is your news of the week for the love of God?
I think Bachman's enjoying this.
My news of the week is Milestone. Some people saw when they released the news about Young Justice Outsiders, the supposed 3rd season. We have an image of Static Shock in the cast. And so a lot of people started questioning what DC is doing with Milestone. They had bought the company with of all black superheroes, had launched them a while ago, and then all the titles kind of fell off. They had launched a new Icon, launched a new Static Shock. All those titles ended. So DC's co-publisher Jim Lee has said they plan to relaunch and reboot of the Milestone. It was announced 2 years ago. It's still alive, but they haven't finished it yet. Supposedly, he said at San Diego Comic-Con that there's news coming soon. So they are still working on bringing Milestone back, and so those characters will continue to exist in the DC universe. It's just gonna be a question of between New 52 coming and going, and the new timelines changing all the time. What part of the DC universe will they be a part of? Will they be their own little separate thing, or will they actually join in with the majority of the characters? But there's actually some new artwork up of a piece with Hardware and Static. But yeah, it's one of those things where people were worried about it, not knowing what they were doing with those characters. And Jim Lee at this point hasn't confirmed anything other than to say that they are still working on it, and those characters will be coming back to the DC universe.
Question. Did they basically just say they're segregating their comics?
No, they haven't said what they're doing with them.
Okay.
Because Well, because they had there was a while when they first bought Wildstorm from Jim Lee, the Wildstorm universe was still segregated. Basically, the Wildstorm books that Jim Lee owned were in their own pocket universe, and that was just one of the DC alternate universes. And then eventually they meshed them in to where I guess now technically, what was it? Grifter showed up in Flashpoint. So you had a Wildstorm character who was originally created at Image, was in a DC animated cartoon, because DC owns Wildstorm because they got all of that when Jim Lee came over. So it's the same thing with Milestone, is they own all those characters. They bought the company and they have the rights to use all of them. But yeah, they had a new Icon and it was Icon and Rocket book, I think, and Static when they launched the new 52. And both those books were canceled. I think Static only made it 6 issues, which sucked because it was a great book.
It was a really good book.
Yeah, I liked that one. And it was the guy who had done the original Nightwing artwork, Scott McDaniel, when Nightwing got his first solo book. And yeah, the artwork was great on it. And it was a fun read. And yeah, they canceled after 6 issues.
Sailor Poland says Icon showed up in Justice League, the TV show, but only once, which is a shame because Icon's actually a really interesting character if they would actually use him.
Yeah, a lot of the Milestone ones are, and yeah, it's another roster of characters that they own. DC, has the rights apparently, as far as I know, to do whatever they want with them, and they've just kind of been sitting on the back burner, not doing anything with them. So yeah, it was something that when they noticed that he was in supposedly in Young Justice 3, people started talking about what's DC doing with Milestone, and Jim Lee just said, "Hey, we are working on it. There is plans coming."
But that's one of the issues that DC has, and we just keep going back on this train. I'm sorry, but they use the same 3 characters over and over. And for a while there, they used Green Lantern more, and now Green Lantern's kind of fizzled out because Jeff Johns isn't writing him anymore. Same with Aquaman. Same with movie. Yeah, and that awful movie that Willie and I are twinsies on. We both have the poster.
Well, when you have a group of characters called the Holy Trinity, you're kind of going to go back to them over and over again.
But that's the thing, though, right? It's I feel like if they retired those characters, not necessarily put them out of a commission, but just kind of backburner them a little bit, because Batman has 6 books?
Yeah, it'll never happen. That's their moneymakers.
But that's the thing, is that
plus if they were to backburner Superman, the Siegel and Schuster families would probably be able to fight for the rights again. So they can never not publish Superman every month.
That's a shame in itself, but I mean, it's one of those things where I'm if you backburnered these people just a little bit, I'm not meaning take him out completely or anything like that, but stop making him the forefront like Wolverine, because I hate Wolverine.
Wolverine's dead.
Yeah, Wolverine
dead.
Kind of dead.
Yeah, which Wolverine? There's fucking 4 of them now.
I was gonna say fair. Wolverine is kind of dead. But it's one of those things where it's if you were to backburner them, not not put them in as many books, still have them come out, but not as nearly as many, and bring to the forefront some of these other characters that are really interesting. They probably could deal with that. And this is Marvel too. I'm not just saying this for DC, but if you were to backburner some of these forefront characters and bring forward some of these more interesting ones, or not necessarily more interesting, but some of these characters that people are asking for, not just the Holy Trinity or whatever, you probably could do something with that, I would imagine.
Well, it's where you get the thing of what the people have been complaining about, the forced integration and representation at Marvel thing, and they're like, oh, representation doesn't work, those books don't sell. It's the whole idea of you have those characters, but unless somebody comes forward with a good story to write with those characters, it doesn't matter how interesting the character is. Because for every mistake they've done, you have people was it Kelly Sue DeConnick that originally came up with Kamala Khan? I can't remember who started Kamala Khan.
I'm not sure.
But whoever started that original story of the Inhuman that became Miss Marvel, that was an original story that when they took that to Marvel, they're like, yeah, we're ready to go with this. It's awesome. And then Bendis did the same thing with Miles Morales. It's not just having the interesting character, it's having that good story to back them up and to get them in the public eye so that they can become popular and become integrated part of the universe that people would be mad if the character went away. Because yeah, DC has hundreds of interesting characters, but if there's not a writer sitting down saying, hey, I want to tell this great story with this specific character, then DC, I mean, they own the character, but as a corporation, they can't just put out stories.
Well, can't they?
Someone has to write them.
But that doesn't mean that somebody hasn't written them and they're just like, no. I mean, because we have all these Superman books. Like, where are we going to get the time to put these books out? Like, that very well could be happening. We just don't know. But I mean, it was just a thought that I spurted out of my mouth instead of thinking about it. But Sailor Poland says the Worlds Collide crossover explored the social dynamics and political situations of the characters. Superman and Icon was fascinating. And then he said, Wally West was a dumb character. Then Mark Waid came along and Wally became my Flash. Need to realize the characters not just slapped together with a bunch of traits like you rolled up as a D&D character.
Yeah, he's exactly right. Mark Waid made me love Wally West as a character, and that's how Wally West became my Flash. Like, when you say the words The Flash to me, I don't think Barry Allen first, regardless of the fact there's a TV show, an upcoming movie featuring Barry. I think Wally, because Wally's my Flash.
I always thought Wally because of Mark Waid. I now think Barry only because of the TV show. Only because of Grant Gustin.
It's not about the comic. It's not about the comic, though.
Well, yeah, when I think comics and I think The Flash, I think Wally West. Also because Wally is like 1,000 times more powerful than Barry. And Barry in the comics was boring as fuck.
It's interesting to see how people change for their various characters. Because like I know most people think Peter Parker for Spider-Man, right? But like I actually, and I've talked about this many times, I enjoy Miles Morales more. Like
Miles is fine, but he's not the one true Spider-Man. Peter Parker's the one true Spider-Man.
I think Peter's boring though.
Then you're not reading Amazing Spider-Man because Dan Slott has made that book fucking awesome.
Not currently. The last Spider-Man book that I really read and really got into was when Doc Ock took over Peter Parker's body.
Still not a fan of Superior.
The last year of him dealing with the consequences of all the stuff that Doc's done, and now Doc trying to take all that stuff back because Doc is now in his own perfected clone Parker body along with his arms. So he has all of Parker's superpowers, and he has his Doc Ock arms, and he's an insane genius, and he's trying to destroy Parker Industries. It is awesome.
So how many books do I have to buy to catch up?
Just Amazing Spider-Man, I'd say the last 20 issues.
So it doesn't need to be like Amazing Spider-Man plus these 10 other comics on the side?
Nope. I'm currently reading Amazing, 2099, Spider-Man singular with Miles, Spider-Gwen. I think those 4. And then, I was doing Clone Conspiracy. I was reading all of those, but yeah, for the Peter Parker storyline, you only need to read Amazing Spider-Man. That's it.
That might actually be worth buying in trade then.
Yeah, just hold on. I'm sure they'll be doing another trade sale on Comixology at some point, because I'm sure they did one right before Homecoming came out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the one. That's why I find like stories like that to be interesting. I love villains, and that's part of the problem, right? Is that like I love the villains. And you have to have a good villain. And Batman has the Joker. Superman, I mean, it's really hard to put up a really good villain with Superman other than Lex Luthor.
Superman has a rogues gallery. He's got Metallo and Atomic Skull, a couple other characters that can fight him on his level.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've never been a Superman fan though either, so I guess I'm just bad exampling there. But I mean, it's one of those things where and that's why I enjoyed Superior Spider-Man, is because Doc Ock is a really good villain, and for him to be Peter Parker was great to me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He wants to be one of the biggest mass murderers of all time and then becomes a superhero.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, when it became a thing of beating Peter and then being better at being him than he was, yeah, it does make sense. Because Doc Ock is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's great. So there's a whole slew of chat that I'm going to read. These are from Sailor Poland.
There's a lot. Sailor Poland's going nuts down here.
Sailor Poland. Peter is a whiner, and I want him to shut up. See? Same. Doc Ock, just a short time before, wanted to be the greatest mass murderer of all time, then wants to take over Peter to become a hero. Does not compute. For characters, compare Wildstyle in the Lego Movie and Jailbreak in the Emoji Movie. Both are feminist characters, but Wildstyle was a real character, and you've got her. Jailbreak is just, she's a feminist character, and there's nothing else to her. She's an archetype, not a character.
It's the Emoji Movie. You were expecting character or storyline?
Wait,
Yes,
someone
he
actually
went-
watched it?
He
Yeah, what
went and saw the Emoji Movie. I asked the same question.
The fact that you spent money on that is,
Oh no, he pirated it.
hopefully. And I even picked that on the Fantasy Movie League. And I don't want people to go see it.
Sailor Poland also continued to say, I don't like rooting for the bad guy, so I couldn't buy Superior. If they had, say, put Flash Thompson in there, great. But Doc Ock, I couldn't get into it. That's fair. Jossmanship says, we all like to beat on Superman, but I actually like Reign of the Superman back in the 90s. I don't think I read that.
I think he means Reign of the Supermen.
Oh, okay. I don't I know what it is, but I didn't
those
read
don't
it.
count as Superman stories because it was all the replacements and none of them were Superman.
Sailor Poland says, I got what the story was trying to do, and I understood his point, but I just didn't like how the story was put together. And I think that's fair. I think Chris and I argued about that story a lot.
It was poop.
It was awesome.
The concept behind it was poop. He made something good out of it, but the concept was poop.
Jossmanship says, I mean, I was 12 when I read them, but I really liked the way they explored different aspects of Superman, from the Cyborg, John Henry Irons, Superboy, and the Eradicator.
Wait, are we talking about Shaquille O'Neal now?
No, that was the Reign of Superman. And then I'm ignoring you, Willie. And then Sailor Poland says, I was the only one in the theater. I was playing Crossy Road.
That's like when I saw the Final Fantasy movie that came out in like the 2000s. I was literally the only person in that theater, and I was like, this is so boring, and I got up and walked out halfway through.
You're talking about
Wow.
Spirits Within, right?
Yeah.
I like the Final Fantasy movie.
God, it was so
No, it was
boring.
bad.
It was bad.
I mean, it was bad, but I enjoyed it because
No,
I
it's
like
not.
bad
No,
movies.
it's boring. It was bad because it was boring. There's nothing to even talk about. It's just
Oh, wait.
I did
Wait,
not
I
care
take that back. Is the Spirits Within the 7, the one that they made for Final
No.
Fantasy VII?
No.
no.
Oh,
Spirits
okay.
Within
It was
they
the
made-
very first one.
Yeah,
Oh.
It was the first fully CGI'd movie.
Oh, never mind. I never saw it.
No, that was Toy Story, wasn't it?
Well,
No,
yeah.
because Toy Story is animated.
What?
There's a difference in style the way it was done. The Final Fantasy movie was the first one that was fully rendered to look realistic in a CGI environment. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be animated.
And the story made no damn sense.
No, not really.
Okay, so
You had
then
Adam Baldwin in there.
so then never mind. I'm Draftsmanship was telling me I'm thinking of Advent Children. I liked Advent.
Yeah.
I don't think I
Yeah.
saw Spirits Within.
Which
Very
I'm still
different.
saying you probably shouldn't like that one either.
I liked Advent Children.
It made no sense either.
Not
No.
many of the Final Fantasy stories do.
I was gonna say, what Final Fantasy story does?
Final Fantasy X.
Bunch of chicken raisin bullshit.
Actually, it's chocobo racing, and found out you could race ostriches and ride on them, and totally gonna lose all this weight just so I can do that and blast chocobo music while I'm doing it.
That is everything I hate about Final Fantasy.
Have the Chocobo theme playing the entire time.
I literally played 7 up to the point where, like, here's a chicken ranch. And I went, fuck you, I'm not a farmer. And I quit the game.
You missed one of the greatest Final Fantasy games of all time because you don't like chocobos?
Yep.
Wait, which one?
Dumbass chickens.
Final
Wait,
Fantasy
they're
VII
on
is
all of them.
arguably one of
They're
the
in
best
all of
Final
them.
Fantasy games of all time.
We can all
Arguably.
agree that the worst one is Final Fantasy VIII.
I like Final Fantasy VIII, so you can go
Just
to
because
hell.
of the magic system. The magic system was the worst.
Oh,
Wait,
you
that's
can,
the one with the gun blades, right?
yeah.
yeah, you get penalized
that
for
one.
using magic.
I think
'Cause it-
boyfriend liked 8.
That was Final Fantasy trying to do their version of Stephen King's Dark Tower with the damn gun blades.
Sure, whatever, but it's the magic system. You have to spend so much time pulling from the enemies 1 or 2 or 3 like spells and just to stock them up. And then it makes your character stronger. And when you use them, it makes your character weaker. It makes no sense.
Yeah, but the best part of that was you then linked that magic to different attributes your character had. So if you could go out there and farm a bunch of Fyras early on in the game and then junction that to your attack, you were near unstoppable. It was awesome.
But if you use fire magic at all, you lose it.
Well, I didn't use fire magic that much.
It penalizes you for using. It just makes no damn sense. And you had to spend so much time to stock it up.
It was a total time sink. I mean, they made you have to go and grind. I mean, let's be honest though.
It's not even
most
grinding,
of
it's
the Final
worth it.
Fantasy games are all about grinding. This one was the grindiest of that generation.
Sailor Poland says, so you learn to adapt your play technique.
It's not. No, you just literally you just go into a batch. It's like, oh, okay, here's a weak enemy. I can just steal this. I don't know, stopper magic from. Let me just keep on pulling from him. Oh wait, it's been 30 minutes. I'm full of stopper. Now I can finally kill him. Let me go do it to the next magic item. Or magic
I can't say much of anything. Final Fantasy VII was the last one that I played and finished. I've started 10, and I've started.
Oh, I love 10.
I've only started 10. I really haven't played much Final Fantasy because they tend to be a little grindy and a little time consuming. So I just haven't gotten to play. But like boyfriend and I keep saying we're gonna play 8 together. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've never finished any of them.
But 7's the only one I ever actually finished, I want to say.
10 was the first one I ever finished.
9 was the one with that stupid underwater soccer bullshit, right?
No, that was 10, and 9 was awesome as well.
10 is the worst fucking game ever. That underwater soccer is some of the dumbest shit.
Blitzball
anybody
was the shit.
Ever
was
put in a video
amazing.
game.
I spent so many hours playing Blitzball. It is so awesome.
Blitzball was a fucking dumb idea.
It was a great
concept
idea.
To fucking
says the man who hates chocobos.
Awful.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. So fuck you. But here's
Giant
what you got
fucking
here.
Stupid chickens.
I have somewhere in my possession. I have a PS2 memory card with a couple of Final Fantasy X saves on it. One of them being everything completed. That means every ultimate weapon, everything done, every summon. Oh god. Oh, the American version, I should say. The international version, I did not have I did not own because you couldn't back then. I guess you could, but.
Sailor Poland says Superman 64 is the worst video game of all time.
He's not wrong.
There's been worse games. It is bad.
Name one
Final
worse.
Fantasy or Friday the 13th on Nintendo.
I'm trying to think what terrible games have I played a lot of terrible
Battletoads.
games.
You couldn't get that shit.
Battletoads was great.
Yeah, Battletoads
All right,
was
get
tough,
past
but it was
get
fun.
past 2 levels then and get back to me.
I'm
I
pretty
mean, it's
sure
hard
beat
as shit.
Battletoads.
Get past 2 levels in and get back to me.
I'm trying to think of what.
BT doesn't count, Suncast. It's buried in the desert.
Okay, so let's go through a list here. I went to The Guardian, which has a list right here. Let's go with some of the most critically panned games of all time. Let's start with our first one in 2005, 50 Cent Bulletproof.
What?
Well,
No.
critically panned games and the worst games, it's not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, I've heard that game was actually all right playing it. Playing it was actually pretty fun. I've heard that.
That reminds me, that game that you guys wanted me to play that was on Xbox Gold for free, whatever, something. It's Kane and no.
Oh, Kane and Lynch. Oh god, no.
Yeah,
Oh.
so boyfriend has downloaded it for me. I will eventually be playing it on live stream, so you guys can all throw up with me.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, is it one of the games that gives you motion sickness?
Yes, because apparently it's shaky cam along with like playing the game. So I haven't actually opened it, launched
That's not
it
the
yet.
problem of the game.
Is it
The
just
problem
terrible?
is it's just a bad game.
It's just bad.
Bad gameplay,
It's
bad
just bad.
story, bad graphics. I think we're all right looking, but I mean, still, it's just bad.
But yeah, so expect that live stream to happen. Just FYI. Anyways, continue.
Games Radar has the top 100 worst games of all time. Let me go to page 10. We'll look at their top 10, then we'll transition out of things.
That'll be my news of the week. There we go. Chris, do my news.
Okay, so their number 10 is Ride to Hell Retribution, which I've never even heard of.
God, yeah. Oh no, that's terrible. There's sex scenes in the game where everyone's fully clothed.
Spent 6 years in development, they said in here.
Oh, it's so bad. Look up videos. It is so weird. Like, why would you do this? In the gameplay shit too.
Next up at number 9, this is from the Philips CDI console, is Link, The Faces of
All
Evil.
of them.
Oh my
the
god.
Philips
It's
CDI
pretty bad.
games.
So
There's three different Zelda games for this Philips CDI.
Yeah.
Which one are they referring to?
the Faces of Evil, which is
Wanna Gamelon?
the second one. If you guys want to see these games, because it's really hard to find them, the Game Grumps played Wand of Gamelon and Faces of Evil. They're both terrible, but it's really funny to watch other people fail it.
Here's what they said. What makes it so dreadful? Its merciless beating of the Zelda brand, for one. Had the developers' animation magic started from scratch, the game may have simply faded into obscurity without leaving a large brown skid mark on our childhoods. Instead, it transformed our beloved Hyrulean universe into a cheesy Saturday morning cartoon.
No, hold on. Let's take it back here a second. Who the fuck owned a Philips CDI?
I was gonna say, I think this is an entire system I've never even heard of before.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember.
I'm looking at the games now.
Stuff about it, but yes, if you want to have a good time watching somebody fail at Philips CDI games, the Game Grumps did play the two of the 3 Zelda games. I guess the third one is over $500 to pay for, and they're like, I don't want to pay.
Oh, they got the money. They got the money,
but
let's burn through some more of these. Number 8 is the Aquaman video game.
Oh yeah, I've heard bad.
Where you
stuff
punch
about
and
that,
kick underwater.
There's a fog like 10 feet out. It's horrible.
Let's see. Next up, number 7 is a game called Homie Rollers, evidently franchised from dolls found in vending machines across various grocery store empires.
Oh god!
The Homies were the racially stereotypical brainchild of an ex-LA gang member who tried to teach the youth of America the downside of being pumped full of lead, and then they made a kart racing game out of it.
God, yep.
Oh, that's awful.
Why would they? Why? Okay, let's continue on. Just bypass it. No
Number
more
6,
mention of that.
Fugitive Hunter. Pretend for a moment that a video game about brawling. Pretend for a moment that a video game about brawling with Osama bin Laden was a good idea. It wasn't, and the world needed another military FPS in the early 2000s. You'd think Black Ops Entertainment would have at least waited a tad longer to cash in one of the worst periods of all time.
I mean, if you want
10
a
of
game
America's most wanted fugitives, the game wore its flag-waving bravado on its sleeve. Basically, you hunt down fugitives.
I mean, if you want a game like that, go with Mercenaries, the original Mercenaries for the
PS2
PS2 and Xbox.
Fun, that wouldn't be on the worst list. Sure. Number 5, let's go back. Oh, wow, this is an older one. Custer's Revenge.
Oh, no, the Atari game
Yes.
where you rape an Indian woman.
Here's the gist of Custer's Revenge. You are a naked, engorged General Custer that must walk from one end of a playing field to another while dodging arrows that fall from the sky. And then you can go ahead and rape the native woman tied up on the other side. Yes, it's a cocktail, no pun intended, for disgusting idiocy.
What?
Oh my god!
I believe his dick is as big as he is, though, in the game.
Oh Jesus!
And then all you see is the Native American. Wah, wah, wah. That's all. It's like she's tied to a pole. That's all it is. You're going from one side of the screen, dodging arrows. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Oh my god.
Number 4 they have on the list is Superman: The New Adventures, aka Superman 64.
When was it called? The New Adventures on the PlayStation? Because
I think that's
a PlayStation version too.
I think that could have been what it was.
Because I mean, I rented it. It was bad. Like the timing to get through all the rings was horrible, but it was not the. I would say it's not the worst.
How is Custer's Revenge still not as bad as that, though?
Well,
I'm sorry, but everything that you just said.
We still have
gameplay was
more
actually pretty
games.
fun.
Oh, Jesus.
There's 3 more here. Next up is Club Drive, which is exclusive to the Atari Jaguar. Club Drive is in a league of its own.
Wow.
Club Drive has ugly and or bad controls and graphics. It's near unplayable, a feat to keep your car going in a straight line without running into the backgrounds.
Who had an Atari Jaguar?
Not a lot of people.
Couple kids. About as many as had TurboGrafx 16s.
That's true. Number 2, E.T. for the Atari. We don't need to really talk on that one. We all have heard the E.T. story.
Well, you know why it was bad, though, don't you?
Yes, because it was made in like 5 weeks.
By one guy.
By one guy.
Sailor Poland says he had Club Drive, but it's ugly, but not as bad as Ride to Hell.
Thank you.
So we have...
There's no sex scenes with fully clothed people.
We have one last game on Games Radar's list of the worst games of all time. Do you guys want to hazard a guess, or should I just tell you what it is?
Okay, let me see.
I don't know.
I'm thinking back. Let me look on my shelf.
I still think it's got to be the Friday the 13th game. That game was
not Friday
god-awful.
the 13th.
Can you give me a console?
Let's see. I'm trying to find when this actually came out on here.
Because if you give me a console, I can maybe tell you.
It doesn't actually tell me.
Oh, man.
I think 2003 is when it came out.
Okay, so
it's a
PS2,
PC game,
Xbox.
it would appear.
Oh, PC.
Yeah.
PC only? Oh, then I'm
Wait, what was the
out
name
of
of
the
it?
league.
I haven't
We
told the
didn't.
name yet.
He hasn't said it yet.
Okay. I was like, wait, I missed it. I haven't heard what this.
No,
All
Lily
right.
was asking for the system so he could guess what game it was.
So, guys, the number one worst game of all time, according to Games Radar, when this article was published, is Big Rigs Over the Road Racing.
That came out 2003. No, that came out later than that. It's like a more recent game.
Oh,
than
Well,
there we
they
go. Taylor
said-
Poling got it.
They said, AKA
Wow.
Big Rigs, or the game that ruined Christmas 2003, pitched 18 Wheel of Thunder through thousands of miles of American road, but delivered about 36 tons of balls stretched over some of the most broken, uninspired gameplay to ever spill its load on PC.
that doesn't count. That game wasn't even a game. Like, seriously, it was a racing game with you and one other truck, and the truck didn't even move.
So here's what they say. Promising a virtual recreation of life as an illegal hauler, what players actually got was a racing game devoid of any actual police and AI opponents that couldn't be bothered to cross the starting line. Add in the lack of collision detection, text that seemed to be handwritten by GTA 4's Roman Bellic, and only a casual adherence to the laws of physics, and Big Rigs was a colossal wreck on every scale.
Let me tell you some things about this game, right off the bat. The collision detecting is correct because the only thing the collision detects is the ground. That's it. Bridges, you will straight up go underneath and come back up. Buildings, you go straight through them. Anything, you go straight through. And that is not only as bad as you have a top speed going forward. Going reverse, you have no top speed. You can literally go Mach 500 in reverse. I'm not kidding. There's infinite. Like, you just see that speedometer go wrap around multiple times. It just continues exponentially.
That is fantastic. So, guys, that is our...
Watch the Angry Video Game Nerd on Big Rigs.
You heard it here from Willie. Go and watch that. That is going to wrap up our impromptu, here's the worst 10 games of all time that we're going to make fun of segment that we just had here.
That was my news of the week, guys. Thank you, Chris,
Willie's
for
news
doing all
of
the
the
work
week.
for me.
Since we've wrapped up the news of the week, it's that part of the show where we also like to say, hey guys, we're part of a network, the Gonna Geek Network, which you can find over at GonnaGeek.com. There's a variety of other awesome geeky nerdy shows on there. There's 23 of them right now. And each week we try to highlight one specific show and tell you guys to go and check those out. And that's generally when I toss things over to the one and only Willie D Nelson, who looks like he's ready for me to stop stalling. So I'm going to toss it to Willie and say, Willie, what are we talking about this week?
Oh, no, I just had to turn my phone on. That's all. I mean, I'm at 4%. Let's hope I can get through this. This week, we are talking about Digital Soup Podcast, episode 31, Eclipsing Expectations in Minnesota. This week, Jason, Adam, and usually Dave are selling Digital Soup history as the stars align and they were able to gather around a table for words up. Naki, you're infecting me. Gather around a table and record face to face for the first time. Jason traveled to Minnesota and the guys dove into Facebook implementation, a paywall feature in Google saying, "Don't call it a comeback." They also touch on some great movie news with Pacific Rim, Uprising, and Shazam. A YouTube video of Hulk being decapitated, and a modified live game show quiz. I'm sad now because the Hulk getting decapitated. Wrapping up with some gaming news, including the Atari box, and a discussion about photographing. That's a word. The upcoming I like the way I said it better. The upcoming solar eclipse. This live recording is a wild ride up north. Why is the Hulk getting decapitated? Back to you, Chris.
Well, Willie, if you want to know why the Hulk got decapitated, you should go check out the Digital Soup podcast over at GonnaGeek.com and find out
episode
just what they
31.
were talking about.
I mean, we
Eclipsing
steal their
Expectations
news
in
anyways.
Minnesota.
We steal their news anyways. It's
We
fine.
make it better. Let's just say how it is.
You got some of that Szechuan sauce?
Was it really that good?
I don't remember it, to be honest.
I don't
I never had it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Was I in the States then?
98
No, 98. So I was.
for Eddie Murphy Dragon.
I'm trying to hang on. Let me do math. I came to the States officially when I was probably here.
Officially, when were you here? Unofficially, that's what I want to know.
Mind your business.
I mean, moved.
No.
here.
Build
Like,
that great
actually
wall.
living-
Keep everyone out.
When I actually lived here.
Make ATGN great again.
That's just my house. I built a wall around my house. I don't want anyone in.
Well,
Yeah, I was
Who
here.
present,
Then who did I see
Okay,
walk
I was
through
there.
earlier?
present company excluded. We'll walk through.
I was 13. I was here. I was moving here. I lived here.
So, guys, looking at the time, it is time for us to start wrapping things up. And if you're a longtime viewer or listener of the show, you know how we do that. It's a little bit called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys just what kind of geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into so that maybe, just maybe, we can entice you into checking them out as well. And I'm going to throw it to Naki first in case she's got to pee.
I really do. Good job, Chris. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
No, she has to stay through the end.
No.
So
God
are you
damn
saying
it.
I should find rain noises to start playing?
No, please don't. Anyways, good timing. Because I drank 2 bottles of water and a coffee while we were sitting here.
Good Lord.
That's on you. That's on you.
I drink. I'm one of those people who just constantly drink. Sorry. Anyways, so what I'm getting into this week is I started playing Pokemon Moon. Because I was on the couch because I was in pain, so I was playing Pokemon Moon a lot. Once you get the intro stage is really long this time around, which is kind of annoying. But once you get past that part, it's a fun game. It's all like all the other Pokemon games. Collect as you go. I did start playing Pokemon Go again just because they did have the meltdown in the city, which was amazing to read about, and I was super glad that I wasn't there. But I did pick up some cool Pokemon along the way. On top of that, it has been announced, and I completely forgot to talk about it the past 2 weeks. I will be at Fantasy... Oh, God damn it. Galaxy Comic-Con and Fantasy Art Expo. It's the longest name in the world. Interviewing Topper Helmers, who is a former Disney Imagineer. He's also been a comic book writer, or comic book artist, and Magic the Gathering artist. And he's got like 30 years of experience of craziness. If you want to check out his resume and his art, it's on topperhelmers.com, I believe. And so I'll be interviewing him, and that's the last weekend in September. And I kept forgetting to talk about it, so I want to remember that I talked about it this time. But that's in Joliet, Illinois, at the History Museum there. So it's actually pretty cool. I'll be interviewing him. Other than that, we have started watching this show on Hulu called Dirk Gently's Holistic
Detective.
Holistic Detective. And it's really charming. Like, it's a super charming show. It's really fun. We watched the first episode and I was like, let's watch the second episode. And it's just super charming. Elijah Wood's in it.
Naki, you know why it's crazy?
Because it's written by Douglas Adams.
And the showrunner is Max Landis.
Also, yes.
I gotta watch it. I love it.
Yeah, it's him going batshit crazy with Elijah Wood, and they're just having a blast. The show is insane.
Boom. Watching
It's
it.
insane.
You sold me. All you had to do is say Max Landis, and I'm in.
It's so good, and I'm really excited to continue watching that show. So that one is really good, and My Hero Academia. I'm gonna continue to push this one, guys. It is amazing, and like every week, like we're waiting for Saturday morning just so we can wake up and turn. It's become our Saturday morning cartoons. Like it is legit our Saturday morning cartoons now. And after the episode, we're just like, fucking why? Because it's over. Because it's only a 30-minute show. But it's so good. I'm going to continue to push that one. I know not everybody here is an anime watcher. I don't consider myself much of an anime fan. I've watched all the major ones like that they tell you to watch, but holy shit, this show is so good. It's kind of like Young X-Men meets like it's another superhero show. There you go. Just go with that. And then what other geeky? Oh, I'm still learning Korean. You guys want to practice Korean with me? That'd be great because I've got nobody to practice Korean with me because everybody's farther ahead. And
You're good on that.
I downloaded this app called Hello Talk, which is a really interesting one. You can talk to people in the country that you're learning the language from. So I'm talking to people in Korea who they're learning English. So I'm correcting their English and they're correcting my Korean. Nice. And if you pay for the premium service, which actually isn't too bad, it's $1.99 a month.
Oh, wow. That's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. You could call each other too and talk in said languages. But again, like it's just one of those things where I'm still learning the app. So once I know the app a little bit better, maybe I'll invest into it because it's a really interesting concept. I like the idea. So yeah, if you're also learning a language, even if it's not Korean, supports almost every language. Like it's got over 500 in there. If you're interested in learning a language and you want, and I'm not paid for this, I promise, check out the Hello Talk app and see if there's, because like my friend's learning Swedish or whatever that considered language is, and she's found like 4 or 5 different people that she's talking to. So I think it's really cool. That's all I got. I'm gonna go pee now.
Excellent.
No.
Make sure you take the microphone with you as was requested. While you're doing that, Anthony, what you been getting into?
What?
Did you
Well,
miss the whole thing
yes,
at the
we
top of
get
the show
to.
where we made fun of that, Willie?
No,
I thought we were just dicking around there. I didn't think you were actually going to do it. Jesus.
I wasn't being
apparently.
serious. Calm down.
I mean, that's what you're into, bud. That's what you're into.
Oh, for shit's sake.
I saw that. Yeah, they finally put all the Rick and Morty stuff on Adult Swim. So I watched the season 1 premiere or season 3 premiere because I hadn't watched that yet. So I watched SEAL Team Rick going nuts and Rick body jumping like a crazy ass superpowered madman, and the Rick origin story, which is really cool. My Hulu was having problems. Something with they were doing an update to show that seasons 1 and 2 of Strain were exclusively available on Hulu. And every time they put that banner up, apparently my Panasonic Blu-ray Smart Player has trouble with some of their updates. And so every time that banner would come up, only seasons 1 and 2 were available on Hulu. So I would go to my Hulu and I would open up the Strain and it would show me the titles for seasons 1, 2, and 3. And I was halfway through watching season 3 and I would click on season 3 and it would have 0 videos. So it was a pain in the ass because I had to just keep resetting it, and every once in a while the videos would be there. So I kind of burned through it as quick as I could to get them watched while they were available.
Why don't you just use your PlayStation?
That's on my PlayStation.
Oh, I thought you were using your smart.
Or no,
TV.
yeah, it's on my player. Because the player was owned by my ex-roommate, and it's her Hulu account, and I don't have the info.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so watched all of the Strain season 3, and that's a show that for what could have been like a really simplified one and done season of a vampire invasion in New York, 3 seasons in, and the storyline has continued to keep being like engrossing and entertaining. It's really cool. They do have a full-on Blade character called the Born, who is a guy who was born half vampire. But they don't focus on that too much. He has like 1 or 2 episodes that are kind of centered on him. But they made him a cool character, and he doesn't act like Blade, so it's not a super bad ripoff. But yeah,
So it's Blade without being Blade.
It's a white guy playing Blade, basically, because he's all the vampires they end up like their hair falls out, their skin turns pale, and so they have this weird look to them, almost like the vampires in Blade 2. So they all kind of, and they all have the tentacle mouth thing because it's a worm that's a virus that makes everybody a vampire in this world. They're not so much vampires as they actually are a disease that's communicable and almost unkillable. But yeah, it's a fun show. I've enjoyed it. And let's see, keeping up with the pacifist cards. 2 migraines this week put me a little bit behind schedule, but I have 3 cards to get to 89 that I can do today, which will keep me on schedule for us hitting our goal in time for doing the Kickstarter. So we're still on track to do that. Doing my daily sketches yesterday was 210. I did that live on Instagram last night, which was fun. I did the inking of that live. And then I've got the 2 different leagues going on. In the Fantasy Movie League, I'm getting killed this season. Every goddamn decision I make is a bad decision.
Did you put the Emoji Movie up there?
Yes, he did.
I went Emoji Movie and 2 of the girls' night out or whatever, just to try to do something risky for the weekend. And it didn't do bad, but it didn't do good enough. Apparently, I should have just gone with 5 SpiderMans. All of this season has been just random, ridiculous picks that there's really no sense to the picks that end up winning the week. I mean, the only one that shocked people was the one Lobster was the only one smart enough to do an entire theater of Baby Driver, because nobody saw Baby Driver making over 20 million its opening weekend.
I was so close to doing that. I was like, you know what? No, I don't think I'm let me back out of this. Let me erase 3 of these and change
it was
them.
cheap. It was cheap in the Fantasy Movie League bucks, and so you could fill all your theaters with Baby Driver. And so he had a weekend that was worth like 120 million or something.
Yeah.
He jumped ahead of all of us on that one. But yeah, I basically just give it up on this season, the Fantasy Movie League. On the other side, I just found out I won the month again for the comic book movie league over at Mixed Marvel Arts. But the problem is that every time you win, you lose everybody in the draft. So I won the first month, came in first in my league, and so that meant I got to draft last. So the second month I came in last, which meant I got to draft first. So then this month again I came in first. So first, worst, first, and now I'm probably going to go to worst again, which for the quarter I'll be 2 up, 2 down. So yeah, it sucks because whenever you get first place, you lose everybody on your team, which is no fun. Because then, if I could just
benefits you to get second place.
Yes, I was trying to get second place.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
If you get second place, you get to keep one person. It didn't. I won, which it's one of those things. It's like, hey, I won. Fuck. Everybody on my team's gonna get drafted by other people now. Son of a bitch. But yeah, it's a really fun one. It's over at Mixed Marvel Arts. If people want to check it out, they've got enough. They had enough to expand to 3 divisions this season, and it looks like there have been a couple people interested in it. So we might be splitting out to 4 divisions. So right now it's Wakanda, the Multiverse, and then I'm in the Midtown division. Which I just won that for the second time, which I've been playing for 3 months and I've won it twice. So I think I'm doing pretty good. It's a fun little thing, fantasy drafting superheroes and then their appearances, but it's all Marvel based. So it's only Marvel characters, only Marvel comics. And then, seeing a bunch of books ending. Peter David, I'm sad and proud to say I once again owned every issue of Spider-Man 2099 because Spider-Man 2099 ended with issue 25 again. They've ended that series. Marvel's just ending a ton of books. Totally Awesome Hulk is coming to an end. I'm probably not going to pick up Totally Awesome Hulk and Banner Hulk because the entire idea of the Legacy line of books doesn't intrigue me at all. So, yeah. Marvel's following suit with DC. As they're canceling books, I'm dropping them, and they're not showing me anything I want to pick up again. DC, I'm down to just Nightwing. From the looks of it, after Secret Empire is over, I might be down to just 1 or 2 Marvel books. It might just be the Spider-Man books, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been getting into.
There's so many indie books that are really good that it's just...
Well, and the 75% of my pull list is Image now. And sadly, Invincible's coming to an end. God damn it. But
Walking Dead apparently is too.
Well, that's not true. That story was misquoted, and Kirkman said it. Kirkman has known how the Walking Dead story will end for about 5 years now. He said about 5 years ago he figured out how the story will end, but he's never said he's going to end it. He just knows how it ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Read the story. I didn't actually read the story.
Yeah. It was another one of those clickbait articles that somebody put up and said Walking Dead is ending. And no, it's something he gave an interview because he always said his biggest concern with like the Romero films, which he loved, was that, okay, well, what happens next? Credits roll and you want to know what happens next. What do the characters do next? And that's why he came up with the Walking Dead comic book concept, because he wanted to see if people were really in this situation and they kept going and kept struggling and kept facing just adversity after adversity after adversity, what would happen to them. And so, yeah, he had the idea, like he would want to write The Walking Dead as long as he could, basically as long as he's capable of typing. But 5 years ago, he came up with an idea of where the story would end if he were to end it. So,
nuclear bombs, everybody dies.
Sounds
like
it's not,
everybody dies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not quite the same thing. He knows where the story goes, but it doesn't mean he's writing the ending of it.
All right,
which is a different thing.
We're pressed for time, so I'm going to go next. My stuff's pretty simple. I've been playing a crap load of Splatoon 2 on my Switch. I honestly think it's going to make my Switch melt down because if you play for about a half hour, you can actually hear the fan going on that handheld, and when you pick it up and touch it, it's hot to the touch. So it's
a great console.
It's definitely pushing it to its limit to do the 60 frames per second at 1080p on Splatoon 2, but it is incredibly fun. They're doing the first Splatfest right now, which is Team Mayonnaise versus Team Ketchup. Team Ketchup for the win. We'll see who wins. The other thing I've been getting into is I just finished watching the 8-part documentary season 2 on Netflix of Last Chance U. Not quite as good as season 1, but still fun, and it was my football fix as we move into football season. So that's mostly what I've been getting into. Willie, how about yourself? What have you been getting into?
Well, I mean, since we were talking about Twisted Metal earlier, I brought out the best one, Twisted Metal 3.
Nice.
For the original PlayStation. Because the music, that's why it's the best. Because it's Rob Zombie and all that.
3 was good.
Yeah. I picked up a graphic novel, Snot Girl, which I looked at the... because I like the weird shit. If I want to get a comic book, I'm going to get weird shit.
What a surprise.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go on. I looked at the writer, Brian Lee O'Malley, and I was like, that name sounds so familiar. I can't put my finger on it. And I finally turned around to the back. It's like, oh yeah, he's the guy who wrote Scott Pilgrim. And so I started reading that. It's pretty good so far. It's a little weird. It's just about a fashion blogger and some weird shit.
It's called Snot Girl. Of course it's weird.
Oh, is that just because she had allergies? That's it. That's the only reason. I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be something weird in that, but no. I watched Birdman for the first time. I think I need to see it a second time because I'm not sure how I felt about it. It's like
I hear that very frequently about that movie. I still haven't watched it, so I hear
it's not the way they shot it, which were all of it to the very last scene was like supposed to be like one continuous shot, like supposed to seem like that. I like that, but it's like the story is like I don't know. I don't know if I like any of these characters at all. But
that's kind of why it was good because it was realistic. Like they were people.
But I mean,
like none of them seemed fake. They seemed like normal fucked up people.
I mean, if someone watches my life, they see I'm not an asshole, and they can like me, and whatever. I'm a real person. I think.
Are you?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm more real than you are, Naki. You have more metal in you than I do.
That's true. I can't argue with that.
I am very sorry. Please forgive me, Naki. Was that His Holiness making an appearance?
No,
it wasn't.
That was His Holiness.
No.
Let me go on into my day. I played some more Super Hot VR. As frustrating as that game is, I will never call out his name in vain.
My bad, guys. The Reverend's back.
No, I'm just messing with. No, but that game is frustrating because you have to complete a series of little snippets to kill everybody. Otherwise, you start all the way back from not the very beginning of the game, but the beginning of the segment. And segments could be like, I don't know, I think the longest like 7 parts long, but it's like if you die just once and getting into fight, I'm finally at the last part, boom, instantly dead. Like, no, I didn't know the guy with the shotgun's gonna be over there. Shit. But it is very fun. I've hit and shot so many of those crystal people in the dicks. It is hilarious.
As you do.
As you do. I mean, of course, as they go reach for the gun, they're bending right. Like, I gotta shoot him in the asshole. I mean, you just have to. And just seeing their bodies go and explode, it's awesome. Other than that, played Quiplash with you guys. That was very fun.
Oh yeah, we did that this week, didn't we?
I believe I still have the crown since I was the last winner.
I had a migraine. It wasn't very fun.
Yeah. Other than that, let's. I did get a Kickstarter. Finally came in for a tabletop game, Tiny Epic Quest. I have not had a chance to play it yet. Just got it in Friday.
I forgot about that too. I sent out a batch of Kickstarters. Everybody from the Jedi level with the regular cover that's in the mail.
Yay!
Damn.
All those sketch covers are going to take a while, motherfuckers. Like 27 people got sketch covers. Like those custom ones take time.
Don't worry. And so I haven't played it, but if it's anything like the previous one I kickstarted, Tiny Epic Western was amazing. So hopefully this one's just as good. There's who makes it? Let me give a shout out. Gamelyn, Gamelyn, Gamelyn. They make some of these tiny epic blank games. There's also Tiny Epic Galaxy. I never played that one, but they all look fun. Try them out. Back to you, Chris.
I was waiting for it. So, guys, that is going to wrap things up. As we wrap up, a friendly reminder that we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Do the math for your time zone from there. Over on geeks.live. We're not the only folks that stream there. There's a whole bunch of crap that streams on Sundays now. Head on over to geeks.live. There's a calendar at the bottom of the page that shows you the recording schedule for things. I do believe at 1 p.m. Eastern today is Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., followed up at 6 p.m. Eastern by Starling Tribune, followed up by 9 p.m. Eastern Pop Xcast. So there's a lot of stuff live today over on geeks.live, in addition to all the other content we have throughout the week. That being said, though, I think that is going to wrap things up. Any final thoughts as we shut this thing down?
Yeah, seriously, where did that mole come from?
Shut up, Willie.
Congrats to Wonder Woman on passing Guardians.
Congrats to Willie for doing a self-examination live on the air.
Deadpool taught me well.
He must have. Well, guys, that is going to wrap us up, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.